everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Coffee Talk. I am Daan Koopman, and I hate Mega Man Mobile.
As well you should from the looks of it.
It's really awful. The other voice you're actually hearing is Andre from GameXplain.
Who's that? Sounds like an idiot.
I heard he's a very charming guy who makes very great analysis videos.
Oh, that's a very kind thing to say about a guy who's an idiot. But I will say, I actually did come through on this. It is called Coffee Talk, and I am literally drinking coffee right now. So I am living up.
I am too, actually.
Wow, all right. Although I will admit, my coffee is running out, and it's kind of cold right now. But hey, it still counts. So
it still totally counts. I feel my coffee is half empty, and I got it when we're supposed to start recording. Okay.
Your coffee's half full.
Half full. Yeah, that's a more nicer way to say it for sure. And it's also kind of cold right now, but whatever. It's still caffeine that you get into your body.
Exactly.
So, just like last time, we're gonna hope to answer a bunch of questions, and next to that, we're just gonna talk and see wherever this discussion leads us. And like last time, I don't really have a script, so this go one of two routes. One incredibly well, or two incredibly bad.
It might go to very dark places, you never know.
That's the third secret possibility, that it goes into the dark web, but I have never opened that portal yet, so why not start now?
Speaking of portals, actually no, I got nothing.
Okay, I thought you were going to say something really cool and interesting.
Nope, not at all. I was going to say Portal's an awesome game, but that was literally it. I'm like, I have nothing else to add beyond that. So we're off to a great start.
Portal is an awesome game.
Oh man, I'm so sad because my Portal 2 disc doesn't work anymore for PS3.
What?
So I need to rebuy that at some point. I know. I wanted to replay it a couple years ago. I'm like, oh, it doesn't work. This sucks.
Yeah, that's the game that actually got me into Steam too, because it has a whole Steam link on PlayStation 3.
That's right. Yeah, that was like the first one, right? Or
yeah,
I think so.
It was the only game that ever supported that.
Yeah.
And
nice.
I was like, what is this PC thing? I should likely check it out on my laptop. And then I did. It was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of games there that I've never played.
I think that's like everyone's Steam catalog now, because everyone buys all those deals, and they end up with hundreds of games that they never play.
Yet I keep buying those Humble Bundles.
Yep.
I have over 120 games, and I've played 25 of them.
That sounds, that's probably a better ratio than most people, I would even wager. So,
I'm not so sure about that. I think I've become pretty lazy.
Than most people, I don't know. I think better than most people. Maybe if you count like just a hardcore demographic, maybe not. But I think of most people, that's pretty good. Like if someone has 125 games, I'll bet you they haven't played most of them.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, like games become fairly cheap on Steam these days. When I see a game for 99 cents, it's almost too tempting not to get it.
Right.
I think
exactly. It's too good of a deal.
Yeah. I think most of the games that I've played are the ones that were the cheapest, outside of one. Like, so there was one game I used to play a lot on Xbox Live Arcade, which was Risk Fractions, which was this really cartoony version of the game Risk, with this whole campaign and everything. And I really loved that game, but I barely boot up my Xbox 360 anymore, despite it having here under my table here. So what I do now is just play the Steam version with a mouse. And,
how's that?
And it works perfectly fine.
All right.
It's just a game I can play while rendering a video or doing something else, or listening to a podcast. So
it sounds like you're probably playing a game all the time then, since you're probably always rendering and listening to podcasts.
Half of the time, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There used to be a time where I also have a Surface tablet around, and I would just hook up a mouse to there all the time to just play it on the go.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of my favorite games ever, and I still like it, but there are better games to play right now instead of the same one every single time you go on a break.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Diversity is a spice of life, right? Or whatever that saying is.
That's actually a good question. Do you have a game where you feel you way too regularly go back to?
Oh, Oh, that's a good one. Not recently. Hold on, let me think. I mean, I guess, well, if I had to choose one relatively recently, it's been Mario Kart 8. That's a game I'll start up, like, I'll go for a few months without playing that game, but then I'll come back to it, and I'll be like, oh, this game's, like, really fun. And I'll be hooked on it for a few weeks, and I'll put it away again, and I'll come back a few weeks later, or a few months later, and play it again some more. So, right now, I'm in a not playing it phase. And I'll probably stick with that now until the Switch version. So we'll see what ends up happening there. That way I can go in, kind of somewhat fresh, not really, but more so at least, and hopefully enjoy it in its full splendor.
My problem with Mario Kart 8, and we had a large discussion when this game came out, I think also over on your channel, on GameXplain.
Probably. We discussed a lot of things.
with Josh Thomas back then. And I still kind of stand behind it. When I play the game, I really like it. When I stop thinking about the game, I will not play it for about 2 months.
Mm-hmm. It's a kind of game that is easy. It's kind of easy to forget about. Like once you get out of your system and put it down, it is kind of easy to forget about. But whenever I go back, I'm like, oh yeah, this game is enjoyable. Even though I still think Mario Kart 8 has its flaws. I know a lot of people love that game. I mean, I like it a lot. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great game.
Yeah.
But some people really love that game. I'm like, it's really good. But I think there's still some things they could do better, like being Double Dash.
I think what elevated that game for me was the DLC. Like, I really like those DLC tracks.
Yeah, they're good.
Especially the Animal Crossing and the Zelda ones are fantastic.
Yeah, I liked how a lot of them had a unique aspect to them, like Animal Crossing had the seasons, for instance, and actually changed the layout a bit. That's really cool.
For sure. As far as myself concerned, if I go back to a game, it's likely a rhythm game, which is a huge scope, I would say. But I find that's my niche where I just play a couple of songs and I feel alright for the night. And the other game that I find myself constantly going back to, and especially in my entire lifespan, is Super Mario Bros. 2, the American version.
Interesting. Yeah, well, that game's not easy.
No, and I've been playing it since I was 2 years old.
Wow. Well, that's fitting. It is Super Mario Bros. 2, so...
it's the first game my dad taught me to play.
That's awesome. Who did you play as a kid? Which character?
I played a lot as Luigi.
He's a good one.
Yeah,
I feel like it's between Luigi and Peach, typically.
For me, it's also... I wasn't very good with, grabbing objects or avoiding obstacles. So for me, Luigi, elevated that game a little bit.
Well, you know who really elevates that game? Princess Peach, because she... Yeah, I didn't even have to finish it.
No, you don't. It's already done and set in your head.
That's right.
And everybody can finish that joke.
I think people can just see it coming now. It's like a freight train. There's no stopping it.
Yeah. So, we have a few questions here. I would say about 8 or 9. But first of all, do you have anything you want to talk about?
No, I mean, nothing specific. I guess, though, there's one thing I've been doing recently. It's something I've really never had a chance to play. And that's the fact I recently went back to and started replaying the original Legend of Zelda on the NES.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I had only ever played it up through the first dungeon at most. And honestly, I don't think I played that far. I think I always just get to the first dungeon, all right, I'm done. I don't know why. I think, I felt like, at the point I started playing the original Legend of Zelda, I'd already played Link's Awakening and A Link to the Past.
Right.
And I'm like, the original Zelda seems inferior in every way. Why even bother with this? I'd rather just go play A Link to the Past. But recently, now that I have the NES Classic, and Nintendo put out that artwork on New Year's for Breath of the Wild, it looks just like it was inspired. Yeah, it was inspired by the original Legend of Zelda, Legend of Zelda artwork, and it looks awesome. And I think that might have played a part of me in me thinking, you know what, I should just go back, finally play that game, just because it is a classic. It's what started the series. I'm like, as one who runs a Nintendo-focused channel, I probably need to play this game at some point.
Right.
Because I played pretty much every other Zelda game with 1 or 2 exceptions. I'm like, I should sit down and finish this game. So I've been doing that for the past week or so. I'm up to the 5th dungeon, I think, even though I've worked my way a bit through the 8th one already. I found most of them now.
Okay.
And I have to say, after like sitting down, like immersing myself in it, like, you know, once you get past the fact that the game is really dated in some aspects, it's a really good game. I'm actually really enjoying it. It has some issues which definitely stand out these days. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's fun. Like, I love it's really interesting, especially again, seeing Breath of the Wild and how Nintendo themselves talked about the inspiration from the original game. And you can really see the similarities here with how the world is like very open and, very nonlinear,
right.
and also it doesn't really direct you anywhere. Like, it's extremely vague, which is both kind of pro and con at points. But it's just really fun. It just feels like, and I was surprised by how fresh it feels too. But it does some stuff that's even unique to it that most other Zelda games don't do. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah, for me, there's an interesting relationship with that game, because originally when I played it, which was about a few years into the Super Nintendo cycle, and we still had the original Nintendo, I was about 6-7 years old when I tried to play that game, and it didn't go exactly well for me. I would say that I struggled a bit too much. So I laid it down. I thought I would go back to this at some point, which happened to be the GBA days when they released those NES classics.
For $30.
For $30, yeah. And I played it all the way through the game back then. I really enjoyed it. And that's how I got my niche for playing more Zelda. Which ended me... Like, I ended up picking up all the other GBA games. I started playing the Super Nintendo ones, and it started all from there. So I started from the right game, but way too late.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so that was your first real Zelda game then?
I would say I would have dabbled in the two Game Boy Color ones.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think I played those all the way through, but I'm not sure how much they clicked into my head back then before I played the original Legend of Zelda.
Interesting. So they clicked more after you played the original.
Yeah.
I can see that, I guess. I guess because the original Legend of Zelda, like going back to it now, like it sets up a good foundation, which I feel like I kind of got that foundation with A Link to the Past, because that was my first Zelda game. And then playing A Link's Awakening just felt like an expansion or side story of that game. But I can definitely see like the Game Boy games feeling a little bit odd, or maybe not odd, but you know what I mean. Like
they are very different. They are very differently
exactly
built. Especially the two ones on Game Boy Color, like Oracle Seasons and Oracle of Ages. They are very puzzle focused. And if you're not really up for that, you're not really prepared to play for that game all the way through. And I found my way through that game, but I understood it better once I know the conventions of Zelda a whole lot better.
Right, yeah, I'd agree with that.
And I know that a lot of people look down on those two Game Boy Color games, but I really like them.
I did too. By two, which two are you referring to? Or are you referring to all three?
In this instance, I'm mostly referring to the Game Boy Color ones, but it's the two Oracle ones. But it's also...
Okay. Don't forget Link's Awakening was a Game Boy Color game, too.
Yes, I was... when you mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, that happened too, huh?
Yep.
But I associate that more with the Game Boy, honestly. But it's totally true. Link's Awakening DX also came out on the Game Boy Color.
Yeah. Yeah, all three games are good. I can only speak mostly for Link's Awakening and Seasons. I never actually finished Ages, which I really need to go back and do. I actually didn't even play those games until years later, probably 10 years after they came out. I was like sick one day. I'm like, I should play Oracle Seasons, and I had a blast with it. It's a really good game, and I think I should go back and replay it sometime. But yeah, the Game Boy games are good. They're a little bit different, but they hold up on their own. So
nice.
Yeah.
The experience with the original Legend of Zelda is interesting. I don't know how, like, a modern, and I use modern in quotation marks, gamer would react to it. But there is a sense of speed and freedom to that game that I don't think is paralleled by any other Zelda, because it does it so really different.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely.
A good question, actually. What is your favorite Zelda?
My favorite Zelda. Oh man, I say I always go back and forth. I don't really, but I say that because it's so close. For me, though, I think number one is still A Link to the Past. I think that game just nails it on almost every front. I just love that game. Like, it's perfectly paced, perfectly structured. The world is big, but not too big. There's a lot to do. There's tons to do within that world.
Sure.
But right behind that, I would go Majora's Mask. Like, I love how unique and different that game is. Not just for Zelda standards, by almost any standard. That game is so different. I love it. I love that it's darker. I love the moon, the constant reminder of what's happening in the world being right above you, and you actually can see it getting closer. Yeah, I love that game. The reason it's number two, though, is because I don't think it's like, I would consider A Link to the Past basically flawless. That game is pretty much perfect.
Right.
Whereas Majora's Mask, I think it's not hard to find like little flaws or areas that can improve in that game. But on the whole, I still think that game is great. So yeah, those two are the ones that take it from me. How about you?
Well, first of all, before I go into my top two or top three, I would say that I played through Majora's Mask for the first time with the Nintendo 3DS release, proper, because I do have an N64 card and I did play it some bit, but that is the Zelda game I always struggled with. At any given point in time, I couldn't understand that game. And I will also say that I was a whole bit younger when that game came out. So when it came out around the new 3DS launch in Europe and North America, I picked up that game and played it all the way through. And I feel I finally understood what the game is trying to go for. And I think I really enjoyed it more because of that. Because you are more confined to one area, and then you branch out into smaller areas, start a cycle from one over, and learn from those experiences. And that's a very different take on Zelda, similar to how we just talked about the original Zelda. And I think there is a lot of parallels there from how they handle games so very weirdly. But at the same time, what I love the most about Majora's Mask are the characters and how they actually fit into that world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the best parts about that game. To me, I think almost every Zelda game, when it comes to the towns or the characters, to some degree, has been a disappointment since Majora's Mask. Because Majora's Mask nailed it. That town felt alive. Those characters felt real. Everyone had a different schedule. You'd find them in different places. You could see them walking across town. They remembered who you were. Assuming they met you before in that three-day cycle. You could influence their actions. You could help solve their problems. And since then, that's something Nintendo stepped away from. I would say Wind Waker got closest with Windfall Island. But beyond that, and even that one was a big step back. But since then, Twilight Princess went totally... went completely digital on the time of day. I think it was only basically day or night there. There was no in-between of anything. And there wasn't even much to do in Twilight Princess. You saw there were tons of characters to see, but none of them did anything. You couldn't even talk to most of them. So that's why I hope with Breath of the Wild we maybe see a return to that level of liveliness.
Absolutely. I shouldn't say too much about Twilight Princess anymore because people already know how I feel about that game, and it caused a lot of problems the last time I said something.
I forgot we agree on that game, don't we? I forgot about that.
Yeah, we agree on that game, but I got the most flack for it.
I'm so used to everyone disagreeing with me on that. I couldn't even fathom that there are people that do agree with me on that.
Yeah. As far as the two games that I like the most, and these are very different because my number one game, after a lot of consideration a couple of times, I think I like A Link Between Worlds the most.
You know what's funny? That's the one game or one of the very few Zelda games I haven't finished or barely even played. I got a couple hours in.
I mean, that's fair. What I like about that game is there's a constant urgency to keep going. There's a fancy speed about that game which I really like. How the game is structured is super interesting, and it just keeps going. And the tempo of it is super high impact, and I really like that about that game. There's a constant flow to that game which feels fantastic. and I really enjoy the characters in the story a lot. I think there's a lot of goofy stuff in there. I think the art style like really fits that system also really well. That game I would say that game wouldn't have existed without a link to the past. So I think I should give a nod to that game as well. I think both of those games.
There's no way Between Worlds would exist without Link to the Past.
Like both those games do a lot of things right in a game that I really love. But for the second game is the HD version of the Wind Waker. I enjoyed the Wind Waker a lot when it came out back in the day, but I felt that it came to its right conclusion with the HD version. Because the Triforce quest in the original game was garbage.
Yeah, that was one of the big sticking points about the game.
It took way too long. There was no... How do I put this? Like, in a way that wouldn't piss people off.
I don't think there was a way to talk bad about Wind Waker without pissing people off.
Yeah, but the Triforce quest... took its sweet time to get going. The tasks were not all that fun to do, and it made for a sort of disappointing latter half of that game. Which I feel that the HD version totally corrected, and then added stuff like the fast sail and made the adventures go snappier and faster.
It is kind of funny how the fast sail by itself and the fact that it automatically changes the wind direction would have already improved the Triforce quest a fair amount, because it was so tedious to change directions and sail in the original game.
Right.
But then they went a step further and really just cut down that quest, which really did help it. I think there were probably some people that were disappointed by it, but I thought it was a big improvement. But yeah, I mean, I feel pretty similar to you in general, although more extreme. Like, I actually didn't like the original Wind Waker that much because I thought the sailing was so tedious, especially pulling out the Wind Waker to change wind direction anytime you wanted to change where you were going by more than a few degrees. I've said this before. It got to the point where I would literally just go... I got so tired of using the Wind Waker. If I had to go somewhere, I would just go opposite the wind. I would just sail back, I would weave back and forth. It would take forever, but I would get there. But I hated using the Wind Waker so much. So when they fixed all that in Wind Waker HD, I'm like, this game is actually pretty good. And I had a really good time with it. So I just wish I'd been able to enjoy it on that level originally.
Well, most Zelda games are good. That's the good positive. You know what? I actually think that Twilight Princess is one of my least favorite ones ever.
Of the Zelda games?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Outside the non-canon ones. Zelda CDI.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't even count.
Yeah, I played through those games. I know.
Wait, did you say non-canon or non-ganon?
No, just no. No.
Hey man, that's what you get when you invite me on your podcast.
That's true. That's very true.
Actually, you should hear my Pokemon Snap video I recorded this morning. There are some terrible puns in it. Terrible.
Is there one about how you finish the game within an hour?
There isn't, but I do mention that. That game is really short. I got I unlocked half the courses basically in 30 minutes.
I think my current record with Pokemon Snap is that I can finish it in 90 minutes.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It is and it isn't.
I still know every single exact location in that game. That's how many times I played through that thing.
I believe it. Yeah. I mean, I haven't played it in probably 10 years at least. So I remember it a lot, but there were little bits and pieces I didn't. So it was kind of fun piecing it together again. I'm like, how did this work? Like, I was in the cave and I was trying to remember how to get the alternate path. I remembered once I saw the alternate path at the end, but before that point, I'm like, wait, do I need to get the Electabuzzes to light up all this stuff? And I did that eventually too, but I didn't even know what that did. So it's kind of fun revisiting a game when you only remember part of it, because sometimes your own memory works against you too. It's like, I remember it being different, it being different, and it totally throws you off the actual course.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's get into some questions then. Let's see.
Yes.
Okay, the first one is kind of mean, actually. I don't know if I want to do that, but you know what? Let's do it.
All right.
Will Andre finally stop spamming us with stupid leaks? And leaks is in quotation marks.
Well, I mean, they're asking at a good time because probably, I mean, once the January 12th event happens, I'm guessing those leaks are going to die down. The reason that there have been so many leaks and our videos about it is just the fact that there's been nothing else. Like, we are in a bit of a drought of news right now. So once we have that information, I have a feeling those are going to come to an end because the information will be out there. Granted, I mean, there will always be some leaks, some rumors. What is kind of funny, though, is we've actually, in some sense, we've actually cut back on what we report. Like, before, like a few years ago, we were less discriminating with the sources we reported.
Yeah.
Now we're way more discriminating. But to counter that, I suppose, the sources we report on now have also been reporting a lot more rumors. So because the sources are credible, we do report them. With Laura K. Dale, Emily Rogers, in Eurogamer, for instance. So yeah, so it's weird. I mean, if they hadn't been reporting as many rumors as they have, we'd have far fewer videos about them. But because they are credible sources overall, we feel like there's an obligation to our audience to report them. And clearly people want them. I mean, if people are sick of the videos and don't watch them, we won't get views, and we'll know you don't want to see them. We won't make them.
Absolutely,
but
yeah.
People want to see them, so we're getting them what they see. And we make it very clear when there's a rumor, when a video is a rumor. Like, we've gone above and beyond making that clear now. So it should be pretty easy to look over, to just scroll past them and don't watch it. But yes, they should be coming to a relative end, I'm guessing. So
I feel that if you look at the thumbnails of a GameXplain video, you can easily see, okay, this says the word rumor. I should probably not go and watch this if I don't want to.
Right. I mean, it's kind of funny. I think some people interpret. I haven't seen it too often, but I've seen a couple comments like along the lines of like, the rumor tag being clickbait. It's like that's not the intention.
No.
I add rumor on there to make it clear it's a rumor and that it may not be true, and also so you can easily ignore it. Like, we've actually stepped back, like the clickbaitiness, if you want to call it that, of our headlines. I never felt we ever did true clickbait. I feel like that's often misconstrued, or people. What people call clickbait isn't actually true clickbait, but we've actually taken that feedback and we've actually dialed that back too, where our headlines are almost boring now. Oftentimes they're like very matter of fact, and that's the other people out there, like, with their really clickbait style headlines, of course, get amazing views for their relative amount of subscribers. So it's a balancing act. I don't know. It's tough being on YouTube.
Yep. I've definitely seen some comments on my Twitter feed about people being sick of the rumor videos or the rumors in general. And I'm like, you can't just ignore them if you want to. They're there for a certain group that's possibly not you.
Right. I mean, I think that's part of it, like, because we're, you and I, like, we're general coverage channels. Like, we cover Nintendo entirely.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really cover rumors, but
No.
it's the same type of thing, which means we appeal to a broad demographic. We appeal to a ton of different people who all want different things, which is both good and bad. It gives us a lot of leeway in what we cover. At the same time, that means we're going to be making content every now and then that you may not necessarily want to see. So, some people subscribe to us only for analysis videos, some just for discussions, and others for the rumors. We can't, like, once you reach a certain threshold, I feel like I have no idea what that threshold is, but once you grow big enough, it's literally impossible to please everyone. That is literally impossible. So,
especially with a channel that's currently your size in particular.
Yeah. It gets tough. I mean, I still feel like we have like a good, like, we have a great fan base, but I will straight up admit, like, there was a time when we were smaller, like, all our comments were great. Like, they were all happy, friendly, uplifting. Now that we've gotten bigger, we attract all kinds of people, and some of those comments aren't always the best. So, I mean, I don't even mean necessarily, reactions to us. I mean, just in general, like, the bigger you get, the more YouTube-style comments you get. On the whole, I think they're still good, but, that's just one of the problems of becoming bigger is, you start attracting all kinds of things.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've been doing... Since this year, I've been trying to do some different stuff with YouTube now. And I was pretty set in my ways before this. I was only mostly doing gameplay videos, but so far in the first 5 days of 2017, I recorded 2 commentary videos, which is 200% more than I did in 2016.
I saw both of them. I'm like, oh, this is new. This is different.
I hope that people liked him.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do some different stuff more. There's a likelihood that I will do maybe a few video reviews if I have the time to edit them, because I still have to write them too. So it's not always a golden combination, especially when embargoes are very close by.
Oh my god, that Mario... Well, you had Mario Run earlier. We got in the US, the press got it literally the day before the game came out. Mm-hmm. That was rough. That was an all-day project. Like, I was playing the game up until, like, 9 p.m. Then I was putting together the review up until, like, 3 a.m., basically. So...
Yeah. For me, I make choices depending on what people like to see. And people who follow me, particularly on Twitter, like more the written reviews because they are so lengthy. So they are like really pretty set in their ways there too. But I still have the intention to do different stuff on YouTube and other places where I do operate stuff similar to how I do this podcast now, and similar to how I do now those commentary videos. And not everything might work as well, but that makes it more fun to do than maybe a year ago, especially with a new system coming out.
I mean, so much of it is experimentation. See what works, see what people like, see what you like to do, and to see what clicks with everyone. So, it's awesome to see that. Like, it's something I hope we do more of too, more experimenting with different videos. Like, I have a whole document filled with video ideas I just haven't had time to get to yet, so.
Well, that's because you're also busy with making 2-hour-long Zelda analysis videos.
Frickin' that video, man. That video destroyed my life.
It literally did. That is the only thing we could talk about for since the moment you said you were starting with it.
Yep. That was grueling. That was not fun. I mean, parts of it were fun. Overall, it wasn't fun.
I'm going to say that you likely have to do it again after all the treehouse and...
oh my god, don't tell me that. Don't. At least the one thing, at least that, I mean, I probably will. Actually, you know what? I always, what's the word? I forget the word. I always say this, though, where I'm like, oh, it won't be that bad. Then it always ends up being terrible. So I shouldn't say it this time. Jinx myself. There we go. It probably will be bad. It'll probably destroy my life. At the least, though, based on, all the things we're hearing, the game is going to be a launch title. So, at worst, I only have 2.5 months left of this. And then I'm done. Thank God.
That sounds good.
Yep.
Next week is going to be interesting with the Switch, like the proper Switch reveal with the presentation and then the treehouse stuff and then the live events. The cycle begins anew, finally. Yep,
that's for sure. It's going to be interesting because this will be only the second console launch I've had while running GameXplain. The first one was a Wii U, and when that came out, we were much smaller than we are now, So this is almost like a whole different... And we also didn't really know what we were doing back then, like to the same degree we do now. So it's going to be interesting covering a system, this after having run this channel for 6 years now.
I'm doing this currently for 11 years, so this is my 4th console launch, and I feel that I have the most control over this one.
Yeah.
The last 3,
it's a long experience.
The last 3, I didn't really have any control over, and the Wii U was kind of a disaster in itself, and I feel that I can finally talk about it now since we are now at the end of the Wii U cycle. So there was a Wii U launch party in my country 2 weeks before the system came out in Europe. The system was about to come out in North America the day after. And we had a launch party. They invited a whole bunch of celebrities. There was an actual party in Amsterdam where they hired an area to just have drinks and play a few video games of their lineup. And I was finally getting started with getting real contacts at Nintendo, finally, after all these years. So I was there, checking out the games, and the first thing I noticed is that behind the counter, there's an entire stack of Wii U's. And those stacks of Wii U's were meant for the celebrities. And these celebrities would take one home at the end of the night. And I can tell you, I didn't receive one pre-release. So my question was at them from, so are you are you interested in me doing also some stuff on the Wii U, and maybe do some stuff before this thing launches? And then it ended up that they totally forgot after, and I only got a Wii U on launch day.
Oh, that's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah. And the Wii U launch party was not all that great either. At the end of the day, I looked at how many of those celebrities actually tweeted about the system.
Oh, I'm sure nothing.
And there were 2.
Yep. That does not surprise me.
Yeah. So that was my, I would say, my launch experience as far as the Wii U was concerned. I feel that this time, though, there's a better grip of what I can personally expect and what Nintendo wants from me. So I feel more confident in this one than I have in, I would say, the last 10.5 years. So this is going to be interesting and fun.
Yeah. Sounds like, I mean, it definitely will be. I'm super stoked. So I think everyone's at that point now. Like, we all can't wait. And maybe that's part of the reason why some people are tired of rumors. Like, they just, like, it's just a reminder of, we don't have this information yet. For sure.
Yeah.
So, I can't wait until we finally get the whole lowdown here and find out what exactly is going on with everything. But it's looking good, so.
Yeah, I think, especially with the games that have been rumored so far, and hopefully most of that is true, I likely think it is, that we're going to have a really great first-year lineup there.
Think so.
Yeah.
It's looking. I mean, I do think this has a chance to be Nintendo's best lineup, even if only because, well, for one, I think they've learned some lessons now, hopefully, and two, if this is a true hybrid, as I said before, they're putting all their development effort onto a single platform. That's awesome, and effectively doubles the amount of games they will be making for this.
For me personally, I wonder. So here's what I think. Right. They will need to prove themselves in the first year, but they're still developing, like prototyping a handheld in the background for just in case, for that off chance that it might not go well. Because their handheld division is way more healthy than their console division. And even if it might not sell as well as maybe a mobile phone or now with the 3DS, it's still a more profitable margin for them to be in. So we'll see. Hopefully that first year will go well, and I have good hopes that it will, but at the end of the day, Nintendo is still a business, and they need to keep their investors happy, so I'm also thinking that they might have still something in the background lingering, just in case.
I'm sure, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a backup plan, but I really hope it is just that, a backup plan, because if it's anything else, that actually may compromise the Switch's success, and I really can't fathom the marketplace taking to a dedicated handheld when the Switch already can basically serve that function. Plus, I mean, with the Switch being positioned as a console, like, I can't even see how a handheld would even compare favorably to that. The Switch is they're branding it as basically a potentially portable console. How do you top that?
Yeah, so it's difficult, but also at the same time, the 3DS is still way more portable than possibly than the Switch. So.
I mean, that's for sure. I just don't know if that matters much these days, because people already carry one super mobile device with them, being their phone, of course. And I feel like they might be more open now to bringing a secondary device if it does something really well, as opposed to a smaller device that maybe isn't quite as good. Like, I don't think size matters as much these days as it did before. So
it's an interesting topic for sure. I still like the 3DS. I know for a fact that there is still stuff coming to the 3DS that I haven't announced. So they will definitely keep supporting the system until the very end this year. But I'm wondering, A, how those things will sell, and B, how that will impact like the 3DS maybe in 2018, if there is another year. That is honestly the question here, because I think this year they will put their focus on 3DS, on Switch, and on mobile, which is a really strong lineup in itself. which means that they're actually 3 different baskets and that could still succeed this year, which is a good place to be in, honestly. The bigger question is how they will handle that a year later from now.
Yeah, I have a feeling first-party support, I think 2017 will be basically the end of first-party support. We may see like another game or two early in 2018, but I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see third-party games for some time. But I really do think, for the most part, it's going to switch, over to the Switch. I just said it right there. So,
I mean, it's really up to Nintendo. I think that they could position the 3DS as a really cheap handheld to have from Nintendo themselves. Put out a few more Nintendo Selects, keep that rolling, similar to how they handled that first year after the Wii U launched. So we'll see. It could still go either way, but I'm wondering. But then again, I still want to play that Mario sports game from Camelot and Bandai Namco. So
I do too. I'm pretty excited for that game, which is weird. I just hope it doesn't follow the I hope it harkens back to the 64 and GameCube era and just ignores all the other games since. No, that was a real Mario sports era. Bring that back.
I actually listened to your guys' 2017 discussion, and the interesting thing that you guys mentioned was that football or soccer wouldn't as be wacky without the elements of Mario Strikers. For me, though, I'm a real football guy, right? I'm a real...
You're European, so yeah. It's in your blood.
So for me, it's really different what my preferences are, and while I really like what they did with Mario Strikers, I would love like a real 11 versus 11 Mario football or soccer game, which they promise in this 3DS game. So if that's something they can deliver on, I can accept not the wackiness having there from Mario Strikers.
I mean, I can totally see that. I get that. I guess for me, I feel like it's almost. I mean, I may love the game. I'm hoping I do, but just based on what we see, I'm almost worried that's veering too close to like simulation territory. Where why not just go play FIFA at that point? Because I feel like when you have too many players, it gets cumbersome, and like I felt like it was even cumbersome at times with only how many players were in Strikers? Was it like 5 or something? 5, 6?
Something like that. Yeah.
You remember? Yeah, like even that I felt like had its issues with like switching to the right character, and they're basically doubling that. So I mean, it could work. Hopefully, it does. I just feel like Mario Strikers had a pretty good balance, even if it was extremely over the top at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, it could go either way, honestly.
That's everything Nintendo. It can always go either way. You never know. Yep.
Next question. This is from Christian. He asks, "Do you like Big Macs?"
I love Big Macs. I mean, I'm not going to argue it's a good hamburger, but it's a damn good Big Mac. Like that's it, right? Like you have a craving. Like when I have a craving for McDonald's, it's not because I have a craving for a burger. It's because I have a craving for McDonald's and specifically Big Macs. Like that's my go-to burger at McDonald's.
Right.
I love them, and I think it does come down to partially their Thousand Island sauce. Like that is so good. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Actually, there was like a year period where I couldn't eat, like I'd gone for a few years without eating McDonald's. Then I went back and I tried eating it again, and it was just giving me stomach aches.
Oh.
And I don't know why. Then I stopped again. Then went back again. I don't know why. I'm like, oh, Big Macs are awesome again, sweet, and no more stomach aches. So, but I don't eat McDonald's that much. But I gotta admit, I do have a soft spot for Big Macs. How about you, Daan? And I know, actually, Daan, you told me before that the quality in Germany, I believe, is even higher than it is here, and maybe even in the Netherlands too. I don't know if that's the case. But
so I have various different McDonald's experiences with every country that I go. So I actually think that the American one is the worst.
Mm-hmm. Not a surprise.
I think a lot of the stuff that I get is usually cold. With the Netherlands, like most of the time they make it like brand new. They introduce these harsher fries. These they call them farmer fries now in the Netherlands version, and they always have to make them there on the spot, which is fantastic because it means it's always warm.
Right.
So I usually take them with a bit of mayonnaise, and it's fantastic. And I also usually go there for the coffee because the coffee there is really good. But the German one is beyond amazing because they make everything there new. They do no pre-prepare there, which is beyond belief. That, well, it's also because of the German law. The German health law actually requires that you do that. But how they go beyond to prepare that stuff way faster than we actually could in any other country, and then B, making it so good to eat is just wonderful. I love German McDonald's. Every time I go to Germany to the McDonald's, I feel that it's a part of heaven that no other country has.
Wow, heaven, dang. Well, hold up. Have you tried In-N-Out yet when you've been in California?
I haven't tried In-N-Out or Wendy's. That's the only two I haven't tried yet.
Okay, we need to fix that, my friend. Next time you're here, maybe at E3, we're fixing that. That
sounds about right. I'm likely, like I said it in this previous episode too, but this year's gonna be likely my last.
Yeah, so we better make a count then.
Yeah, I might visit a few more places in America. I might go back to San Francisco too. By the way,
around that same time.
Before that, I think.
Sweet. Yeah. So you mean during that same trip, though, right?
During that same trip, yeah.
Yeah, you should. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So might hang out then, but yeah, it's very different than other countries I go to. The McDonald's. It's always very fresh. I actually took you to the McDonald's where you were here for Gamescom.
Like day one, I think.
Yeah, it was really good, right?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, and they'll have their own like different big part of McCafe where they actually have like different kind of drinks and stuff, and like muffins. They have like their McDonald's are awesome. I don't know what the rest of the world is doing, honestly. Go to Germany, taste the food, go to sit in a McCafe for like half an hour, and then realize what the frick you're doing wrong.
Right? Yeah. I don't get it.
It's amazing. Anyway, next question. Let's see. Nathan asks, what's your favorite Disney movie or movie in general?
Wow. That's two very different questions. Oh man, favorite Disney movie? God, that's tough. I mean,
I think my favorite is The Lion King.
Lion King's good. Yeah, Lion King's really good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it is super good. It's like one of the best, even.
Yeah.
I have to say, though, I think I might have to say Zootopia. I think that movie is just fantastic. I watched it 3 times in theaters and again on Netflix. That movie just like the CG is amazing. The characters are great, and like it has really, it addresses a really important issue. But on the other hand, I also really like Moana this past year too. I was surprised by how much I liked Moana. So for whatever reason, those two movies are actually now in my like highest echelon of Disney movies. Beyond that, though, I would say Aladdin's up there too. So man, I don't know. I can't really choose between those 3. Those 3 are my favorites.
Nice.
Favorite movie of all time though? God, that's tough too. Right now, this could very well change. It's either Ex Machina or The Wrestler. I like both of those movies a ton. So,
what's my favorite movie in general? That's actually really difficult. My favorite movie. I'm not sure.
Tough.
I'm not sure if I have necessarily a favorite movie. I like a whole bunch of movies.
Oh, that's a cop-out. You got 5 seconds. Choose one. 5, 4, 3,
Big
2,
Big Fish.
1.
Big Fish.
Big Fish. Is that the Tim Burton one?
Yeah.
I need to see that. I only watched like the first 10-15 minutes, so
it's a very interesting documentary with like the perspective of the guy visiting like the people from his father's stories and see if they actually are real or not. It's a really interesting, weird fantasy world, and it ends on such a beautiful note that it's a movie that I have watched, I think, 10 times at this point in time. And the first
That's
time,
quite a few.
And the first time I watched it was completely out of the blue. I haven't heard anything about the movie, didn't know about the movie. I just walked into the movie theater and watched it. And that is bizarre how much it blew me away.
That's sometimes the best way to do it. I love seeing a movie that I know almost nothing about. Like, I like to know just enough. If I want to see it, then I don't want to know anything else. I go into it almost completely blind.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to experience a film, honestly.
Yep.
When I see, for example, a movie on Netflix or anything, I don't look it up on IMDb. I don't go look on Rotten Tomatoes, what the score is. I'll just go and watch it. And see where I end up on the scale.
Right.
I think that's the perfect way to do it, honestly.
I think so. Absolutely.
Becky asks, after seeing Andre Segers' love for Disneyland, my question is, what was your worst Disney/theme park experience?
Oh man, that's a good one. Let me think. Do you have an answer offhand while I think, or
a worst amusement park experience? For me, the general worst experience is just standing in a line. I don't like standing in a line. I have a consistent hate for that. So what I do is see if they have premium passes. If they do, I buy a premium pass. That's how I fix my day.
That's expensive, though. So is that what you do at Universal Studios, for instance? You buy the premium pass?
I did buy the premium pass.
Wow, nice. Yeah, that is the ultimate way to do it. Just skip the lines and get right on. You can see so much that way because, especially if you go during a busy time of year, those lines are ugly.
Yes.
So
I went last year, after last year's E3, to California Adventures, and next year will be the final one, which is Disneyland. But this year I went to California Adventures, bought like a pass that would allow me to skip lines, and I had a way better time.
Nice. Yeah, I believe it. Well, speaking of lines, I guess one of the memorable moments I had that wasn't great was, I think we were at Islands of Adventure. This must have been shortly after it opened, so back in 99, 2000. And there was like some tour group there of, they're all like teenagers, like hundreds of them. And they were on the same ride. They're in the line with us, and they just started singing, and it was the worst. Because we're like stuck in a line indoors, hearing their song, their terrible singing, just echo throughout the chambers of this line's queue for what seemed like forever. That wasn't fun. But if I had to choose one even worse than that, it was probably, I think it may be my first trip to Disney World, I think, which was awesome, don't get me wrong, right. But I got sick right before it, like violently sick. So the first few days there, I was just feeling out of it. Like, I still had a really good time, but it's not fun going there while sick, so... Yeah.
That's disappointing. I honestly, every time I go to an amusement park, I barely have a bad experience these days, because I go out of my way to have the best experience possible. So I noticed that when I was younger, some of the seats were not maybe completely shackled well enough or something like that. But these days, I try to go out of my way to just have a good experience at an amusement park. So when that happens, there's barely a bad day for me there anymore.
Yeah, that's all. That's good. You gotta do what works for you.
I only had mostly good experiences at amusement park these days. Honestly.
It's hard not to have a good time, I feel like, unless you just hate the idea of theme parks. It's hard not to have a good time at Disney or Universal. Yeah.
Well, it's also just amusement park in general. There are a lot of amusement parks in Europe, and one of the biggest in this country is called Walibi World, Walibi Holland. And they have a lot of, they focus a lot on roller coasters, and they have a lot of great roller coasters in that amusement park. Like, oh my god. And there used to be a time where I was completely scared of roller coasters. I took my issue head on the last 2 years and tried to go to every roller coaster I come across. And that has resulted in some terrible experiences. Like, there is one ride in, I think is it Six Flags? It's probably Six Flags around Los Angeles, where you are constantly going like 360 over the top in your seat. And that experience is something that I wouldn't want to have again. But it's still a worthwhile experience just to see what it is like, even if you're not going to do it ever again, honestly. And in Walibi, there is the fastest roller coaster of Europe. It goes 240 kilometers an hour.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, when you go downhill, and it is incredibly fast. But it's actually the roller coaster that I love the most because it doesn't go over the top, and it's just a really hefty and fast experience, which I really, really enjoy.
Mm-hmm. That sounds cool. Maybe I'll have to check that out next time I'm there.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to bring you along when I get there, so it will be fun.
That's right.
It would be really cool. But yeah, I only have really good experience at amusement parks these days, so there's not much really to say for me or to answer for me in that question, honestly, so I'm sorry. Yeah, Nintendo fan asks, how do you guys at Gamesplain decide who covers what news?
Is he talking like the news updates in general?
Yeah, news updates in general. Yeah.
I usually just have Derek do it because he's better at it. Because he's just better at speaking off the cuff than I am. Like it'll take me a bit longer, just because I tend to screw up more, or I'm more anal about what exactly I said, so I'll redo it a bunch of times.
Right. So
yeah, that's usually it. I'm like, hey Derek, you around? Cool. Can you cover this? That's usually it.
Like when I was at E3, I was seeing how Derek records a news update because I was sitting there in the back.
Right.
And he was very, distinctively looking at the screen, building up a small script of what he was going to say, recorded a line, was not happy with it, deleted, recorded again, was not happy with it, deleted it, recorded again.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very good at that.
He is. No, he's very good at it. That's why I like sending it to him.
For sure, absolutely. Makes sense.
Yeah.
The same guy asks, quick round, apples or oranges?
Apples.
Winter or summer?
Yeah. Summer.
I prefer winter. I like sitting in my house and just playing video games, so winter is perfect.
I mean, it's a good justification for that's for sure, but I also like, going outside too, and I like it to be warm, not freezing when I do that.
Well, does it become that cold in San Francisco?
It actually does. It doesn't get that cold in San Francisco. It's actually pretty moderate here, so...
It's -9 Celsius here right now.
Yeah, at the same time, the summers aren't that hot here either, usually, so it's pretty moderate year-round.
I noticed that when I was there, it's similar to how the weather in the Netherlands is, actually.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. Callie or Marie? Well, we agree both on that, so...
Oh, duh. Do we even have to say? Of course it's Marie.
Yeah, actually.
It's not even a question. God, get out of here.
I think that was all the good questions we had.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow. That went by pretty quick.
That went by really quick, yeah.
Yeah, we need more Big Mac questions.
We need more Big Mac questions. We need to answer about every single burger restaurant, damn it.
Oh, man. I could talk for hours about In-N-Out and I'm going to New York in a few days, and I'm super excited to go to Shake Shack again. It's mostly an East Coast joint, and there's a bunch of them out in New York and Washington D.C., and they are amazing. Their burgers are so good, so my mouth is watering just thinking about it.
I've never been to a Shake Shack. I was only in New York once, so I never got the chance.
I think they're opening up some locations in Europe now too, maybe. I know they're not just in the US anymore, so hopefully you'll get one near you someday.
That would be nice, for sure.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, for Gamescom this year, I had a very interesting food experience because there is an app in Germany called Foodora, which is a very nice take on food and Fedora. So basically... they will take your food from a restaurant, package it, and bring it to your apartment or hotel.
Oh yeah, that sounds like Postmates here. Same thing.
Yeah, but they do that on a grand scale where almost every single restaurant in Cologne is participating with that. So you have this gigantic list of restaurants to choose from, which you will just package the food and immediately bring it to your doorstep, which is amazing.
I know, it's like, why even leave the house anymore?
Yeah.
You can just have everything sent to you.
So I had milkshakes, I had burgers, I had Thai food, I had a bunch of good stuff.
That sounds amazing.
I had the most amazing week not leaving the apartment because I was all on my own, so I had a whole bunch of work to do too, which is fun when you're all by yourself.
Can be, that's for sure.
Well, it can. And we'll likely have to do it again, likely this year. So we'll have to get used to that.
Yeah.
Before we leave, is there anything that pops into my head that I want to ask you? Well, we talk to on a regular basis, so I don't think I necessarily have something to ask you right now.
Yeah, we do keep up to date. Yeah, we do talk pretty frequently.
Yeah. If you guys don't know, because we talk pretty frequently. Yeah, again, is there anything that you still want to talk before we wrap it up?
Oh... I mean, I'm just excited for the Switch event. Like, I'm really looking forward to that. So
yeah, that's
basically it. Can't wait to see. Can't wait to put these rumors to rest and see what Nintendo has in store. I'm also really excited for 3D Mario. So, want to see what that's all about.
Okay, so here's an interesting thought. Okay, let's make one real Switch prediction. You can only make one.
Okay,
you go first.
All right. Well, I don't know how out there this one is. Well, I mean, it's probably not that out there, but I will go ahead and predict that not only is Zelda Breath of the Wild a launch title in the US and Japan, which seems pretty obvious at this point, right, but it will be in Europe as well. I think no matter what, it's going to be a launch title worldwide, guaranteed. I would put money on that.
I think they will have to cut some corners maybe in regards to languages, but they will likely have to make it a launch title in Europe too, yeah.
Yep, exactly. No matter what, like there may be compromises, but it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I think that we might see something. So it has been a few years since the Rhythm Heaven / WarioWare team has showed anything.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we'll see something from them.
If I had to guess, I would say no. That seems more of a Nintendo Direct style reveal. I don't know. I mean, granted, we don't know what they're working on, of course, but if it's a game like WarioWare or Rhythm Heaven, I don't see it being at this event.
The only reason I say that is because that Game & Wario used to be a pack-in title for Switch. And I almost have the feeling that we might see something for Switch launch from them in a style of a WarioWare game.
Mm-hmm.
And more of a style in a Wario game, not what Game & Wario was.
Oh, God, Jesus, let's hope not. Game & Wario was a waste of time, except for like 2 of the multiplayer games. Those are kind of fun.
Island is amazing. I love Island.
Island was fun, and then I also liked the Spy one or the disguised one.
Apples.
Yeah, those 2 were good. So that was it.
Apples is amazing.
Those single player games are garbage, though. Those were not fun.
I liked the one that used to be Shield Pose. I like that one along the Pirates. That
was probably the best one of them.
Yeah, Pirates I like a lot. The rest of them don't really hold up.
Nope, not so much. And I remember the really good multiplayer one. Actually, hold on. The Apple one was fun, but it got kind of old after a while. Mm-hmm. The really good one was the Pictionary one.
Yeah. Sketch.
That was super good. Yeah, that's it.
Sketch was... Yeah, I still use the Miiverse feature of Sketch because there's also a single-player version of it where you draw by subject matter, and then you see the results of others, and it's amazing. Secretly, it was the best implementation of what Miiverse ever had.
It's kind of true, right?
Yeah, sadly, it is kind of true.
Yeah.
Everything about the Wii U was kind of underutilized.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Look at. Okay, for everybody saying or taking offense to that, grab your gamepad, look beneath it. You will see in the middle. You see a port that they never used.
That's wait, underneath?
Yeah.
You mean... I'm not quite sure where
The external port. They never used the external port.
I never really even thought about that. I guess you are right. That's kind of crazy. Because
even for the charging dock, they didn't use the external port. They used the 2 metal plates that were left and right from it.
Yeah, well, Nintendo actually, to be fair, Nintendo has a history of doing that, though. Like, the first 3 the first 3 consoles all had expansion ports they never used.
Well, Nintendo specifically, before the system came out, that they would use that expansion port for accessories, which, again, they never did.
But hey, they also promised 2 gamepad support, and that never happened.
Well, 2 gamepad support, they said if if there was a possibility and if the system took off, and apparently the system never took off, so
maybe it didn't take off because it didn't use 2 gamepads. Where's my Double Dash sequel? That's perfect for it. So angry.
We're never getting a sequel to Double Dash.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Like, as much as it pains me to say, and I would love to have a sequel to Double Dash, there's not going to be a sequel to Double Dash.
Oh, that's so sad. It's such a different game. It's so good.
Well, the game was also a system that was different and different for its time with its game releases. I still enjoy Super Mario Sunshine and Mario Kart Double Dash a lot, but it was from a different place and a different time.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel that Nintendo has become a bit more conventional in how they present their franchises, which is fine.
Definitely have. Well, I don't know if it's fine. They have gone more conservative, and I think that might partially be because of how the Wii U was received. So I'm hoping with the Switch that, of course, here we go again, they switch it up and start doing some different things. And it seems like they might. I don't know. I'm kind of getting the feeling that they will, if only because Breath of the Wild is exactly that. That game is so different from what we've seen, aside from the original Zelda, of course. That's what has me excited. So I really am hoping this might be a different era. Like, I do not want to see another new Super Mario Brothers game on the Switch. That franchise, they should kill it off. If they want to do another 2D Mario, do something different. No more new Super Mario Brothers. I'm done with that.
Yeah. I enjoyed Super Mario Bros. U. I played through that game. I don't remember a whole lot of it, honestly.
That's the kind of thing. I mean, it's not. I mean, look, it wasn't a terrible game, but there wasn't that much memorable about it because when I look back at the new Super Mario Brothers games, they all kind of blend together to me. Like, none of them feel distinct from one another. Yeah, they have their differences, but like they look similar, they sound similar, they play similar. It's there's like no division there. Whereas with the original games on the NES, those and Super NES, they all felt very different. And even the 3D games all feel very different. Even Mario Galaxy, which those 2 games are probably the most similar of any Mario besides the new Super Mario Brothers games, feel different. So, yeah.
People will give me, like, crap for this, but I think that, like, the Wii new Super Mario Brothers game is still the best one.
I'll
explain myself why.
Okay.
I think that the DS one, while doing a few interesting things, didn't always get the feel of Mario right in a number of ways. And I felt that the course design of the Wii one was way more straightforward and fun. It was also a more straightforward adventure, and it still felt new back then in a way that I feel that New Super Mario Bros. 2 and U didn't exactly grasp.
I can see that. That did seem to be like that. The Wii version did seem to be like the just a polished version of the concept of New Super Mario Brothers. But I felt the same about the Wii U version. I felt like they took that idea, polished it even further. Although I have to admit, I'm a sucker for world maps. So the fact they actually had a real world map, kind of made me like the game even more.
That was really cool. And I think that the mission mode stuff was also really interesting. But at the end of the day, I don't think I played New Super Mario Bros. U a lot. I think I even played New Super Mario Bros. 2 even more than you.
I see.
And that's the 1 million coin reward is such a bummer.
Oh my god, I cannot believe they did that. Why?
If your main point from your game is to collect 1 million coins, and I granted they do a lot of good stuff with that concept in the levels itself, then please make the reward actually interesting.
Right? Is that asking so much?
Maybe add an additional world just for the trouble of people going through.
Yeah, that's true. Or at least a level. Just one level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they never did, and I think that was a huge disappointment.
Yep, I don't disagree.
No. But going back to like the Switch at hand, what have we seen of Mario and Zelda, I think, represents bold steps that Nintendo is taking to do some more stuff with their franchises. Well, at least stuff that it didn't try with Wii U. and I hope that they will continue to do that. They still have plenty of franchises they have not talked about or will not likely talk about in its first year. And where it needs to differ from Wii U is that they actually do bring those franchises over, where the Wii U didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited. Like, it does seem to be a different era for Nintendo. I think we're seeing the fruits of, Iwata's labor as well as everything that preceded that. I mean, Iwata seemed to be course correcting the company, and hopefully that comes through. Like, it looks like they're on the right path. We can't judge it fully until we actually see what's happening for sure. But I'm feeling good about this. I'm feeling a lot better about the Switch than I ever was about the Wii U. So...
Yeah, I feel too. I think, well, it will be a week when I post this until the Switch event happened. And then all the hands-on events happens, like a whole bunch of people will get to play it. And then we can make up that balance. But for now, it's just all guesswork.
Yep.
That's when the real fun begins, because that's when the cycle really begins anew, because Wii U will be finally forgotten.
Probably pretty quickly too. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, the Wii had a really lasting impact, and it had a great slew of games. I still have a whole bunch of them back in my closet here, which were really good, and especially in the multiplayer and like game departments that system shined. But with Wii U, I am not sure in which it excelled outside of platformers. Because it had a lot of good platformers. I loved Yoshi's Woolly World, and I don't know that you like it a lot less, but I really enjoyed that game. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, even Super Mario 3D World, despite not really being the 3D Mario game we wanted, it was still a really good game. Rayman Legends and what have you. There was a whole bunch of good platforming games on that system. But outside of that, it all had like one or two really good games in all the different genres.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's always done a pretty good job of covering, most of the big genre, or not most, but a lot of the big genres themselves. Although I do think they may have focused a little bit too much on platformers recently between the Wii U and 3DS. I like platformers, don't get me wrong, but I think it may have come at the expense of other types of games. So I wonder if there just might have been a little bit of platformer fatigue, but I still like them. Like Tropical Freeze, I think, is one of not only one of the best platformers ever. Well, rather I should say, not only one of the best Wii U games, but one of the best platformers ever. Like that's a great game. So
for me, I would say that with Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, it was the platformer that I always wanted, with creative level design from top to bottom. With Yoshi's Woolly World, I feel that the concepts that good feel start with Kirby's Epic Yarn finally came full circle, and at the same time it was a Yoshi game that finally felt good, because especially when you played it with the remote on its side, you could really throw those yarn balls like very freely, which they used to really stagnate like the progression that Yoshi made by still locking it to the L and R buttons. So, like, the Wii U will be remembered for a lot of good platformers, but I think that's about it. And it will kind of be compromised because, again, Yoshi will come out on the 3DS this month. And
yeah, it kind of tarnishes that legacy a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder if it will even have the option to play it, or even just move the system left and right to throw those yarn balls better, because if not, I will still remember it more as a Wii U game.
If I had to guess, I'm going to say no, if only because of the 3D screen. Yeah,
and that makes me realize that the Wii U version will likely will still be a whole lot better.
It's gonna look a whole lot better too.
Well, that's for sure. But I kind of accept that with it coming to 3DS. Like even Super Mario Maker, despite not looking as sharp as the Wii U one, it still looked fine. Yeah. It still looked fine.
But also because it was primarily emulating, decades-old games, with the only exception being New Super Mario Brothers.
Well, they still build those games from the ground up, though, and they still needed to put that Wii U framework on the Nintendo 3DS game, which in itself is really impressive. So the fact that they're doing this again with Yoshi and what have you, it's really cool, and I kind of want to see how it turns out. I will likely play it when I possibly get a code in, but my hope is that if it's not as freely moving as the Wii U game, I will still remember it as the Wii U game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's probably gonna be the case for anyone who played it on the Wii U originally anyway.
Yeah.
I really don't see too many people picking it up who bought it on the Wii U again on 3DS. But, the 3DS has a much larger market share, so it might still do very well in its own right on the 3DS.
I heard that, Mario Maker 3DS is doing pretty decent numbers. So there's a market for it, even if we are not that market.
Yeah, that disappoints me. I mean, I guess it's good in a way. Like, good. I want more Mario Maker, so any support is good support. But I also don't like the fact that Nintendo's being rewarded for that effort, that subpar effort. I would say in some ways, because they were so close. They were so close to nailing it. But the things they missed are huge. So that's the baffling thing. Like, they were so close to making a near perfect port, or as perfect port as you could expect on a 3DS, and they dropped the ball. That's frustrating.
I think where they dropped the ball is not having the online suite there.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that's the part of the game.
Mm-hmm. I think actually making levels and playing the levels is just fine on the 3DS. There's not really a big issue there, but it's where you actually come into terms with like having actual share features and stuff. I think that's where this game falls flat on its face.
Well, right, exactly. That's a weird thing, because the editor technically works fine. It works just like the Wii U one, basically. That's fine. The problem is there's almost no point to it, because there's nothing you can do with those levels except send it to people locally, who also have their own 3DS. You can't post it online, which, like, for me, I was a big creator on Mario Maker. I love making levels. I would spend weeks on levels. I still have a couple levels, like, in various states of being made. And if I had only the 3DS one, I wouldn't even bother. I'd feel like I'm wasting my time. Like, why am I going to spend hours making a course when no one's going to play it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think at the bare minimum, if they were going to do that, at least give other 3DS players like a free downloadable player where they can play the levels with friends.
Yeah,
which they even that they didn't do. Which they did do that for another 3DS game in Japan, which was an RPG maker, and you could download the RPGs that other people made on your 3DS for free.
Mm-hmm.
Which at least would have been a good incentive to still keep making levels, even if it was among your 3DS friends.
Right.
But there's not even that, so thanks.
Yeah. Yep.
It reminds me of the time where they were better connected in the Wii and DS era, especially when you look back at things like WarioWare DIY.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny. It does seem like they've almost stepped back in some ways. It's always like one step forward, two steps back, or something along those lines of Nintendo, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We went on a whole rant there.
We did. We went, quite a few.
That was a nice tangent we have there.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think also that's about gonna wrap it up.
You sound so unsure.
Yes, I feel that there are still a million things we could ask one another, but at the same time, we have been running well over an hour.
We could go on forever, that's for sure.
Well, there's always an opportunity where I can just ask you back another time.
That's a good point. I'll have to get more coffee first, but then we can do it.
That's very true. Okay, so where can people find you, good sir?
GameXplain everywhere. YouTube primarily, that's where we post all our stuff, but also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain if you don't already. We post all our videos there as well. That's a good way just to keep up to date with them, especially if, like with YouTube and all its issues with some people not getting videos that they subscribe to. I definitely recommend following us on either of those to make sure you get those videos. But otherwise, if you're not familiar with us already, GameXplain on YouTube is where it's at, and that's... I was going to spell it, but it doesn't matter. However you spell it, it'll get you there. So.
Yeah, for sure. One thing, GameXplain is one of those rare channels where I have the notifications on for, so I'll get them immediately on my phone.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's the best way to possibly consume YouTube content these days, because with the whole switcheroo that YouTube is currently doing, it's the best way to have more direct contact with the creators you actually like.
Yeah, that's true.
Beyond that, you can find this show, well, more episodes of it, on SoundCloud. That is soundcloud.com//Daan's Coffee Talk. You can find me on Twitter, which is @NintenDaan. That's NENTNDAAN. Go Nintendo, Nintendo World Report, YouTube, wherever you like. And that is about Coffee Talk for this week. We'll be back in 2 weeks after the Switch event has come and gone. And then we'll make up the balance and see how this new cycle will actually begin. See you guys then.